Welcome to How to Control, Flip, Rent, and Invest with Subject to Financing. My name is Sensei Gilliland, your host for this evening, and I'm going to be teaching the strategies that I absolutely love. One of my favorite strategies to be able to assign contracts, to be able to fix and flip, be able to turn into rental properties, lease options, sandwich leases, and so much more. It is truly a phenomenon. I can't even say that word. Phenomenal way to invest in real estate, which is very much underutilized by most investors. And that's just because there's not very many people out there that know how to train in this expertise area on how to do it correctly. But tonight, you have got something special tonight. We're going to be reviewing some deals, some recent deals that we've done here at Black Belt Investors. And so with that, I hope you are able to block out any static around you, cut out the noise, turn off your cell phones, get out your writing utensils as if you're getting ready to study and cram for a test, because I want you to get the most out of it. And I've got something special coming up at the very, very end of this presentation. So for those of you that hang out to the very, very end, you're going to have something that you're happy that you stuck with me through this time. So let's go ahead and get started with how to control, flip, rent, and invest with subject to financing. If you can easily earn $7,000, $10,000 a month part-time, what would you do with the extra cash? Would you kick debt to the curb? Would you take that money and reinvest it into your business, put some into savings, maybe buy a rental property? Would you take that crazy vacation you have always dreamed of? Well, today I'm going to show you a way how to make it all possible and easily earn the money that you desire so that you can live the life that you deserve. In fact, I'm going to teach you extremely powerful real estate strategies that will enhance your investing game as if it were on steroids and will crush your competition. I'm not talking about gimmicks and get-rich-quick schemes. I'm not talking about the latest and greatest software. However, I am talking about strategies that make real estate investors very wealthy. The purchase option strategy known as subject to. So what is subject to in real estate? Well, subject to financing is one of the tools every real estate investor should understand and use and needed to build a real estate portfolio. Subject to financing is when the investor or purchaser takes rights to the title for a property while the seller's existing mortgage stays in place. In simple terms, the real estate deal is subject to the seller's existing mortgage. Here's how subject to financing works. For subject to financing deals, the existing financing is taken over by the buyer. Maybe that's you. Maybe it's an end buyer that you're going to flip the deal to. However, the mortgage or loan remains in the seller's name and with the same terms. A contract is established between the real estate investor and the seller to dictate the terms of the agreement. In these cases, the real estate investor or the other buyer takes over the mortgage payments and gains control of the property. Basically, the real estate investor has 100% control over the asset, and the seller carries the debt. Now, why invest with subject to financing? Isn't that the question? Subject to financing to me is one of the best ways to close a deal. How's that, you may ask? Well, for sellers facing foreclosure or behind on payments for other reasons, subject to financing means the mortgage can be brought current. In these cases, subject to financing can benefit the seller's credit. Sure, the owner will have delinquencies on their credit report, but that is not as severe as having a short sale or a deed in lieu or foreclosure on the record. You see, these delinquencies are easier to clean on the credit report, but a derogatory item like a short sale A deed in lieu or a foreclosure can remain on the credit report up to 10 long years. Having bad credit is such a negative impact that it can deny a person lines of credit. It can prove difficulty getting approved for an apartment, higher insurance premiums. Well, I think you get the point. I want to share why real estate investors need to add the subject to strategy to their arsenal. Here's 7 reasons why you should subject to. Number 1, it is the quickest way to create cash with properties that lack equity. You know what I mean. Maybe you're a rehabber, maybe you're a wholesaler listening today, and you've seen deals that just don't have enough equity that makes number sense for you to flip it. It might be right on the fence. It may be all the way on the other side of the fence, far away because it lacks equity. Well, you know what? The great thing about subject to financing is that if that property lacks equity, breaks even in equity, or upside down in equity, we can still work and flip this property to make money. This is where you separate yourself from the masses. This is where you pull away from the wholesalers and the rehabbers that are clumped up in one big group, and you start doing deals that other people can't. Number 2 is that you can buy, control these properties in any area or condition. Look, it doesn't matter if you're in low income, working class, middle income, or upper income. This strategy works for all. It doesn't matter if it's a dirty doghouse, a turnkey rental, or a mansion sitting on the beach. This strategy works for all. It doesn't matter if it has equity, a little bit of equity, or no equity. This strategy works for all. Do you know what that means? We're in business. Number 3, little to no out-of-pocket expenses to pay. Now, this depends on where you're going to go using this subject to strategy, because the subject to strategy is like an umbrella, or it's like let's just use a hub of a bicycle wheel. See, subject to is the hub, but what's connected to that hub is spokes. And we can go in so many different directions, spoking out from this hub, connecting onto this big wheel. And so maybe you plan on getting this subject to under contract, and you assign the contractual rights out to another investor or home buyer. Well, at that point, you have no money out of pocket, no expenses whatsoever to pay. But maybe you decide you're going to take on this property to fix and flip it. Owner financing stays in place. You cut out the hard money lender, and you're going to fix and flip. Well, to be able to do this strategy, if there are payments in arrears, you're going to have to come up with the back payments to put the loan back in good standing. So in this point, you might have some money coming out of your pocket. Maybe you're going to turn it into a rental. Again, if it has back payments that are owed, you're going to have to come out of pocket. If there's no back payments owed, that's great, but you're going to end up taking over the mortgage payments and having money come out of your pocket. So see, this is what I mean by subject to, where you can do deals with no money out of your pocket by just flipping, what we call flipping the financing, or by coming out of pocket typically less than what you would ever do by acquiring a loan to control an asset for a longer period of time. Let's take a look at number 4. Own nothing and control everything. Have you ever heard of that quote before? That's Nelson Rockefeller, right? Own nothing and control everything is the key to this game. See, when you own everything, you take on liability, don't you? You're on the hook. You become a slave to the lender. But if you're controlling the asset, really not a whole lot of worries on your end. When it comes to subject to financing, See, you don't own the mortgage. You don't own the debt. The distressed seller, the distressed owner, has their name on the record or on the deed of trust or on the mortgage note. But you take control of the asset. See, you will actually control the asset. You'll own the asset, the house, and the original owner owns the debt. How awesome is that? Because we've been so programmed for us to run out, get a loan, put a down payment, take control and take worthiness of that loan and be a good steward of that loan, and also pay that loan so we can eventually own the house. But I'm telling you to dump out that water in your glass and let me fill it up with something better. Let other people take on the debt while you get all the benefits of the asset. Are you in agreement with me? Number 5 of the 7 reasons why you should subject to is because it doesn't require credit, nor does it require any type of loan. See, the loan's already in place. The person that qualified for that loan is the distressed owner. You're just going to bail them out of the debt and take over the asset. By doing that, but you don't have to create a new loan. You don't have to immediately cash out the existing loan. You don't have to qualify for that loan. There's no credit checks. There's no proof of funds. There's no employment verification. The only thing that's required is a specialized skill set by you. That's it. You end up helping the seller with debt relief. You end up helping yourself with making some money. It's a win-win, isn't it? Let's take it a step further. You actually end up helping the bank by putting the loan back in good standing and becoming again, a performing asset. It's a win-win-win situation for all. And then number 6. These techniques apply to all types of real estate. I've literally applied it to land, 1 to 4 units, apartment complexes, commercials, commercial buildings. It applies to all. And you know what's kind of funny? And this is kind of a little side note, is that I'm just not into flipping houses. I also flip businesses, and I've taken them over by subject to. See? Anytime there's a loan attached, it's subject to the existing financing. And so whether you want to focus your niche towards houses, or if you want to go after apartments, or if you want to go after land, what a fantastic strategy to use, because you don't have to qualify for anything. You don't have to go get a new loan. The debt remains in someone else's name, but you get all the benefits of the asset. Love it, don't you? And last but not least, number 7. You can design this to be all about fast cash and income streams. That's right. Maybe you're looking for paydays. Maybe you're having a hard time finding the equitable deals because you're doing all the other strategies, or maybe you're doing all the other marketing strategies is what I should say, to be able to find those wholesale deals. Wholesale deals are out there, but if you're doing what everybody else is doing and you don't have a specialized skill set in wholesaling, well, then you're not going to be able to find the deals. But this isn't about wholesaling. This is about subject to, right? Because all the wholesalers pass up on properties that have just a little bit of equity. They definitely pass up on properties that are upside down in equity. In fact, the first thing that anybody will tell you is to short sale the property. And that's wrong. It may be a strategy, but it may not be the best strategy for the owner. It's usually the best strategy for the real estate agent, right? But there is another way. So we can flip, what we call flip the financing. Get this property under contract, get the financing worked, transfer the ownership out of the original owner's name into a controllable situation, and then flip the paperwork over to a new buyer. It costs you absolutely nothing, and you make a big fat fee for doing that. And you know what else? You pull yourself away from all the other people that are looking for equitable positions. Now, income streams, sure, you can have an income stream by flipping the financing, but you can also have income streams by turning these properties into rentals. And I'm going to share some examples, recent examples with you that we've just done that too. You can sandwich the deals where you're going to make money up front, in the middle, and the back end. Same thing with subject to lease options. Make money up front, in the middle, and the back end. Who loves that idea? Making money up front, making money in the middle, making money in the back end. Everybody should be raising their hand right now. And subject to is the root of doing it all. So as you can see, subject to financing offers many benefits, especially to the real estate investor. The biggest benefit is that the buyer has a long-term financing option without having to go through all the loan requirements from the mortgage lender. That means that, a buyer or a real estate investor that may not be able to receive a traditional mortgage still has a financing option. I'm one of those people. I cannot get a traditional mortgage. I'm tapped out. You're only allowed so many mortgages, and then they cut you off. So the only way for me to build my rental portfolio is only two ways. Buy all cash. Who wants to do that? I want my cash liquid. Or structure a financing option, which is the way I love to do it. Another benefit for both the buyer and the seller is a quicker closing time frame and fewer closing costs. So with subject to financing, fees for real estate agents and closing costs are avoided. That's right, they're avoided. Look, you can take a subject to deal through escrow if you like and cut out the real estate agent and save some money. Or you can learn how to close your own escrow and save a ton of money. Who's interested in learning how to close their own escrow? Also, with a subject to financing, if there's a down payment, and that's a big if, the amount is usually a lot less than what a traditional lender requires. But the past due amount will need to be covered at a minimum if there's a past due amount. So to make the strategy better, it doesn't require credit, employment income verification, and if you decide to flip the contract, then it requires absolutely no money. So you may be asking yourself, how are we going to make money with subject to financing? As with any real estate investing deal, the goal is to make a profit. Subject to financing, with its many financial benefits, can easily render a profit. So I want to share 5 ways to make money off of subject to financing. So be sure to write these down. Number 1 is sign the contract. You find the distressed seller. They're possibly behind on payments. They can't sell it the traditional way because they lack equity. In fact, maybe there's not enough equity to actually come out ahead. But you can speak to the owner, put the property under contract, transfer the ownership, leave the mortgage in place, and assign that contract over to either another investor that can make a deal out of it, or sell it over to a home buyer, and you get paid. Then that new buyer comes in and takes over the mortgage payments. Simple. Now, of course, there's a lot of stuff in between that, right? Learning how to do the paperwork and learning how to work with a bank and learning how to record these documents, learning how to close your own escrow. But it's not difficult. It truly isn't. It's not easy. It's not going to fall in your lap. That's not going to happen. It will take some work. It will take some study time, just like how you're doing your career right now. Just didn't fall in your lap, and you just didn't know everything as you do today the first day you started. But I can help you. But we can assign the contract, knowing as flip the financing. Second way is to get that same property, have the owner hold the financing while you fix it and flip it. Boy, I love this strategy. We utilize it as many times as possible. You know why? Because then I don't have to dig into my pockets to pay for the property. Or you don't have to run over to the hard money lender to get a loan because the loan is already in place. You just take over the payments, fix the property up, sell it, you make a profit, maybe you give some of that profit to the owner, and the existing mortgage is paid off. Love the strategy. Number 3, start building your rental portfolio using this strategy. There are so many loans out there that have a great interest rate that's affordable, and the rents exceed what the mortgage payment is. So the mortgage payment is not going to change once you transfer the asset over to you. It remains the same. But for some reason, that distressed owner needs to liquidate. It might be because they're in pre-foreclosure and they owe 10 payments and they're getting ready to lose it. This is a perfect time for the investor to come in, take control of the asset, make up the back payments, put the loan in good standing, rent the property, and have the tenant start paying the mortgage. And you collect the cash flow. My gosh, that 10 loan limit that I just spoke about earlier is now out the door. How many properties can you add to your rental portfolio by using this strategy? Quite a few, to be honest with you. Number 4, you can use subject to lease option. You get that property, as I mentioned before, by the distressed seller, leave the existing mortgage in place, take control of the asset, and then you offer it to a home buyer or to another investor using a lease option, where you're going to collect an option consideration fee, a deposit. You're going to collect a premium on the rents. And when it's time for them to buy the property, you're going to sell it at full retail value. So now you're making money up front, you're making money in the middle, and you're making money on the back end. Oh, come on, you gotta love that strategy. This is how we create multiple income streams in real estate. And it's a shame that most investors don't know how to utilize this strategy of subject to. Number 5, sandwich owner financing. And I'm not talking about the type of sandwich that you eat. I'm talking about getting the property from an owner with existing financing in place and then offering the property to another home buyer with owner financing in place. Similar to the lease option, the difference is the lease option is where the tenant slash buyer has the option to purchase the property but not obligated to. In this scenario, and as number 5, you actually have party C buying the property from you under owner financing. And you know what's really cool about this deal is that you don't have any ties to the existing loan with the bank. You don't really own the property. You're just shifting the ownership around and creating a new loan with a third party. I'm going to show you an example on this pretty soon. It's phenomenal. This is by far the number 1 strategy I absolutely love. It beats wholesaling, it beats fix and flips, it beats rentals. I love this strategy because you can get so creative with it and own nothing and control everything. So for nearly 2 decades, I have personally relied on this incredible strategy of subject to build my income and rental portfolio. So now I want to share a few recent deals that we've just performed. Here's a property in Birmingham, Alabama. Now, most of you on here today know that I'm out of Southern California, but for the last 24 years, I have been bouncing around from state to state and actually did my very first deal out of state while residing here in California. But Birmingham, Alabama, this property came to me, and as you can see, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage, just under 1,100 square feet. The true value of this property is $53,000. Now, it's not a bad neighborhood. It is low income, but it's not a bad neighborhood. True value is $53,000. Here's the thing. There was an investor here out of Southern California that bought this property through another real estate group. This real estate group, is trying to copycat a lot of other companies' turnkey systems, and they just don't really have the experience on their side. And so they got this property, sold it to the Southern California investor as a rental property. Their job it was to get this property rent ready and then provide a tenant. Well, everything fell apart. The investor purchased the property for $30,000. That was to include the rent-ready rehab, which never happened. He got a loan on this property, not through your conventional lender. I should say not a conventional mortgage is what I should say. He did get it through a conventional lender. He got a business line of credit, and that's how he bought this property. So he has a balance of $22,000. He doesn't owe anything in arrears. He's staying solid on his payments. The part that's making him distressed is that he has no help in Birmingham, Alabama, and the company that he bought it from is not answering their phones. It's sad. Came to me and asked if I can help. And I said, well, let me take a look at it. So he hired my services as a consultant to start investigating and figuring out what we can do with this property. He says, look, if you can do something with this property, all I care about is having the loan balance paid off. I don't want anything out of it. You take the rest. Okay, you guys do the math. Loan balance is $22,000. Value $53,000. There's some repairs to be made. Okay, there's definitely a profit there. What I ended up doing is turn around and reselling this property over to another investor. I didn't make any repairs. I didn't buy the property, but I did sell it for the investor subject to, which basically means I told the investor here in Southern California, look, I'll do this. Let me take over the property subject to, I'll make your mortgage payment for a short period of time, because to be honest, I thought I was actually going to keep it as a rental, but I decided not to. I ended up selling to the other investor for $45,000. Once that property sold for $45,000, I gave and paid off that $22,000 loan. Now remember, he said I can keep anything $22,000 and be above. So what we're looking at, $23,000 in profit? I split half. I gave him half and I kept half. Right? So really, I walked away with about a $15,000 assignment fees. With that at $15,000 assignment fees, $30,000 right there to $45,000. I just ended up cutting in half. So I gave him back the whole $30,000 that he spent, and then that $15,000 I got $75,000 and he got an extra $75,000. And you know what he ended up doing? He ended up spreading the word, telling other people what I did for him. And then he also brought me a piece of land out in California City and gave it to me. So, see, subject to and by a signing contract. Here's a property in Victorville. Is that a nice house? Sure is a nice house, right? 3-bedroom, 2-bath, a little under 1,400 square feet, built in 2001. It's a beautiful house on a cul-de-sac. The value of that property is $237,000. The owner of that property has a loan balance of $169,000, but they're behind on payments, nearly $7,900, right? Well, I structured the deal subject to, which means the existing mortgage stays in place, put it under contract, transfer the asset over to me. I gave the owner upfront $4,000 to put in her pocket. Single mom, put in her pocket. And I told her I'd pay her $4,000 on the back end when I decide to cash out the loan. Now I have a 7-year loan with her on this. I take over the mortgage payments when I sell that property, or if I decide to do a cash out refi, which I won't because I can't get another loan, she'll get an extra $4,000 on the back end. I put $7,400 in repairs in this. Carpet, paint, fixtures. That's it. Cost me $7,400. Why am I doing this? Because I'm keeping it as a rental. I'm keeping it as a rental. Why? Because the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance on this property is $1,167. But it easily rents for $1,550 every single month. Is there a cash flow there? Absolutely. $383 a month of cash flow. Now, this is a subject to deal to a rental. Existing mortgage is in place with Wells Fargo right now. I take over the mortgage payments. But to be able to do that, I have to put the property back in good standing, spending nearly $7,900. Okay. Then I had to pay her $4,000 to do this deal. Okay. And to make it rent ready, I had to come up with $7,400. So I'm out of pocket on this deal, $19,270. But to me, that's a great deal, because if I were to go get a loan, if I was able to, or anybody else get a non-owner occupied, they would require 20% down. It's worth $237. Just figure you bought it for $200,000. That's $40,000 out of pocket to buy that house. And I just slashed it in half by using subject to financing. Do you see the power in that? Slashed it in half. Half out of my pocket, making $383 a month, which comes out to nearly $4,600 a year, which I'm now earning 23.8% cash on cash return, and instantly scored a $44,000 equity position. If you're really listening to me tonight, you'll see how I just made money. What's more important to me right now? That $4,600 a year or that $44,000 equity position I have? Yeah, see? But the cool thing is I've now made money up front because I got a first month's rent, security deposit, monthly income, right? Making money in the middle, and make money in the back end when I decide to sell this property, if I decide to sell it. Here's a property in Imperial Beach. Do you know where that's at? That's far south San Diego. In fact, this property backs up to an estuary, and then you can actually see across that estuary to Mexico. And what a great deal. This was actually a FSBO, a for sale by owner. Now, I am not doing this property myself. I have a friend that lives in the area that's also a real estate investor, and he found this deal. He was actually going to pick up his kids at a friend's condo here at this complex, and noticed a for sale by owner sign. Walked in the property, and it was an older couple that had this house, or I should say house, I should say condo, had this condo as their beach condo, because the beach is only 1 block away. That's it. So it's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 746 square feet. Now, the owner allowed us to take on this property subject to with owner financing in place at $400,000. They didn't know any back payments. We had to put down a $20,000 down payment. We're paying an interest-only mortgage payments, came out to really just under $13,000. Holding costs, HOA, utilities, stuff like that, $3,000. The rehab expense for me to get it up to the value to sell it at $530,000 was $18,000. So between he and I, the total amount is $54,000 out of pocket, because our intention is to get the property subject to and flip. And that's exactly what we did. Got it for $400,000, $54,000 out of pocket, resold the property very quickly at $530,000, and we made a $38,000 profit. No hard money loan. No sensei digging in his pockets and coming out $500,000 to buy the property, right? All subject to financing. Here's one in El Paso. Man, we're all over the globe, aren't we? Well, in El Paso, a great rental market. Love this. Is actually on the east side of El Paso, not too far away from Fort Bliss. And this is a property that came to me because the owner bought it and had some hard times. And I decided to get it under contract, subject to style, and flip the financing out to somebody else. And as you can see, it was built in 2007, a newer property. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1-car garage. The value of the property is $115,000. How many of you would love to have that house here in Southern California for $115,000? Isn't that insane? Step out of California, prices on everything drop, right? So anyways, the owner of this property has a loan balance of $72,000, falling behind on payments of $3,900 due to health issues. That's the problem. He thought he was actually ex-military, Army, Fort Bliss, bought the house, going to reside in El Paso, do some contractual work with the military there, and ran into some hefty health issues and has fallen behind on payments of $3,900 in arrears. Well, get this. His principal, interest, taxes, and insurance is only $437. Oh, my. That's like my mobile bill each and every month. And here's a mortgage for $437. Blows me away still. Anyways, ended up cashing that owner out for $7,000, sold it to someone else for $16,000. So that out of that $16,000, I had to recoup that $7,000, right? Gave me a profit of $5,000. Not a bad little flip. Subject to style, combination of wholesaling and subject to. Love it, right? Check out this baby, and this will be the last one I show you. Here's one in the city of Corona. Tell me that's not a gorgeous house, right? I did this house in 2016, and I pulled it up 2016 just to show you, look, we can do big, beautiful homes too, right? And at that time, the value of this 3,600 square foot home was $575, or $575,000 is what I should say. But the loan balance is $609. It's upside down. Most people would do what? They would short sale if they wanted to sell this property, right? Well, the existing loan, principal, interest, taxes, insurance is roughly $2,800 a month. They're not behind on payments. Okay? They're not. They just want to sell. They just want out of it. But they're not behind in payments. The husband and wife have a good, solid job, but they want to sell as is because obviously it's upside down. They don't want to put any money into it because they're not going to get it back. Well, they came to me. I worked out a deal with them, keeping the existing mortgage in place with Chase, put it under contract, transfer the asset over to me, marketed the property, found a family that moved from India to California about 3 years prior to this, about 2013. So they have not established credit, but they make the money. They have the down payment. So I sold the property for $625,000, right? 50 grand above the value. Who in the right mind would do that? Lots of people, guys. I sold it for $625,000, required a $16,000 down payment. Well, that $16,000 down payment goes where? Right in Sensei's pocket. You got that right. That brings us down to the loan balance of $609,000, doesn't it? That PITI payment is $2,800. Their payment is $3,300 for the next 5 years. So they just reached their third term in this property. They have 2 years left, and they're going to have to cash us out. Now, I'm making a $500 a month cash flow off of this. I just made 16 grand, and now I'm making $500 a month cash flow off this property. On a property that I truly don't own, I just control it. On a property that I don't have a mortgage against, where I've really saved the owners because they didn't want that encumbering mortgage, they didn't want to have to deal with that mortgage payment anymore. But I reap the benefits of the down payment and the $6,000 a year. So really what, 6,000 times 5, that's $30,000 in cash flow plus $16,000 down payment. How many of you want to do deals like that? Absolutely. And you know what? How many of you maybe just may not sandwich owner finance that deal, but just may move into it? Another way we can use substitute financing. Just imagine closing deals with no money, no credit, no proof of funds, no employment verification, just creating income streams and building your net worth through controlling assets. Nelson Rockefeller famously said, the secret to success is to own nothing but control everything. Do you believe this quote to be true? I sure do. It's how I and many others have built businesses and real estate holdings. Are you still unsure? Well, let's think about Uber. Let's think about Airbnb. Let's think about Amazon. Do you see where I'm going with this? Uber doesn't own any cars, but they control them. Airbnb doesn't own real estate, but they control it. Amazon doesn't own the products, but they control everything. Now, you and I won't be as big as these companies, but we can be comfortable and secure our future by controlling some real estate, can't we? Let's take a look at another example of a subject to deal that has no equity. So, house value is $500,000, basically your median for Los Angeles County. Loan balance is $500,000. Oh, no equity. Talking to the owner of the property, they're actually behind on payments, 15 grand. Uh-oh, we're now upside down on that property, aren't we? For a total of $515,000. What do? Don't tell me short sale. No, don't tell me that. Because that's going to screw up the owner's credit. It'll stick around for at least 7 years. I know some of you mortgage people right now saying, well, that's not true. You know, you can get a loan in 2 years. That is true. After 2 years, you can reapply for getting a mortgage. But what's that interest rate going to look like? But that does not take away the short sale on your credit report for 7 years. And on the credit report, it doesn't show short sale, by the way. Okay, so now we're upside down $515,000, or that owner's upside down $515,000. What do? I package up the financing, I control the asset, and sell it for $525,000. I mark it up, right? You would too. And profit is 10 grand. Now you're probably asking yourself, who would pay above retail for houses like that? My answer to you is many. A whole lot of people out there want the American dream, and a whole lot of people can't afford to get a mortgage. They can't qualify to do so. See, when it comes to creative finance strategies, we're not selling the property value, we are selling the payment. So the questions investors and buyers will ask is, the payment affordable? Does the payment allow cash flow of the property if it's rented? And is the down payment or deposit affordable as well? If the answer is yes, then that property will be a profitable deal for somebody, and it might as well be you. You see, affordability allows us to control the sale. Now, once you have a distressed seller on the hook, you need to decide, will you flip it? Will you rent it? You're going to lease option it, sandwich it, or move into it. In fact, I can't think of a better way to acquire a primary residence or a second home, can you? Now, all we need to do is target owners that are distressed. They may be in a pre-foreclosure, health issues, tired landlord, the list goes on. Honestly, it's not hard to find people in trouble that need your help. Let's start with family and friends. Have they ever been a victim of distress and need financial help? We all know somebody, right? Do you think they know somebody as well? Let me ask you this. If you knew a few simple techniques that can turn negatives into positives, would you help them? Not only would you help them with debt relief and saving their credit, but how many of you would like to get paid for such a great deed? So here's my question to you. Can you use a specialized skill set that is different from the masses of all real estate investors to increase your income, deal flow, eliminate debt, and build your net worth? Are you ready to take advantage of the subject to opportunity? In fact, can you see the opportunity? Here's what I want you to do with the next slide. I want you to read the next slide out loud. Are you ready? The countdown of 3, 2, 1. I love making money in real estate all the time. Did you guys see the second the? I love making money in real estate all the time. How many of you read it as I love making money in real estate all the time and didn't actually recognize the second preposition, the? I got you, didn't I? The point of this illustration is to make you aware that in order for you to score deals, you will need to learn the strategy and train your eyes. And if you can be trained to recognize opportunity that most don't see, would you have an advantage? Let me show you 7 steps to $10,000 per month using subject to. You ready? First off, we've got to find it. We've got to create the inventory. We've got to find the distressed sellers, build up our buyer and seller list, put that property under contract, take control of it by subject to style. Do your due diligence, and then decide whether you're going to assign the contract, rent it out, fix and flip it, lease option it, or sandwich it out, or maybe even move into it. Move it over to the option side, do target marketing, flip the financing, and get paid. Simple as that. I mean, I just showed you a few examples where I'm making a little over $300 a month, when I'm making over $500 a month. How many of those do you need to reach your financial goal per month? And the great thing is, you're not using your credit, right? There's no employment verification. There's no Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac and all those other people or entities telling you can only have 10 loans if you qualify for 10 loans. They're not going to cap my potential. They're not going to cap your potential. So we beat them with a strategy. Here's what you now know. You know that you have the option to flip or hold. You know which strategy to use for properties with or without equity. You know there's a completely different way to look at real estate investing, and you know there are strategies to pull you ahead that the average investor just doesn't understand. Isn't it time for you to get off the bench and get into the game? You need to learn a specialized skill set. You need to use the economy and real estate market to your advantage and start celebrating paydays and the building of your portfolio. So I would like to extend an invitation to you to join me so I can arm you with a specialized skill set of subject to financing. Here is what you can expect: how to connect with distressed owners and distressed properties. Learn how to flip properties, whether it has equity or no equity at all. Dominating the pre-foreclosure market and beating up the competition because everybody's looking for equitable deals. And learn the art of subject to financing. All the legal contracts and how to use them. In fact, I'm going to teach you how to close your own escrow. Ha ha! Who teaches you that? Not very many people out there teach that, right? I'm going to teach you how to close your own escrow and avoid all the escrow and title fees. boy, now you're really becoming the investor. Learn the powerful strategies of the land trust and how to write your own trust. No need to go hire an attorney that's going to charge you $1,200. In fact, I charge $450 per trust. No need to, come to me. You can do it yourself. I'll teach you how. This is an excellent tool to move properties without paying fees and conceal your assets. How to draft and record your own deeds. As you can see, this is not your typical boot camp or seminar, is it? And as you can see, this is not your typical boot camp or seminar that most gurus will never teach because they don't want you to know. But I don't care if you know. I believe there's plenty of deals for us all. You can also expect to learn to make money up front, in the middle, and on the back end using sandwich options. Profit by assigning the deal and why we love flipping with OPM. Wait, you know what OPM stands for, right? In creative financing strategies, it means other people's mortgages. Plus, you'll walk away knowing how to control owner finance properties, flip the financing, build your rental portfolio, and become the ultimate investor by controlling, selling, and holding overlooked properties. Imagine making massive income consistently without buying properties, without rehabbing, without applying for loans, without using your cash or credit. In fact, you don't even need to use the other OPM, other people's money, for this type of deal. You're now just making pure profits. So if you decide to take me up on that invitation and join me, there's a lot of bonuses that come with this one-day training. I'm going to give you 6 weeks of rapid success coaching with me directly. You have questions, I get them answered. You're not going away. You and I are going to be connected by the hip for the next 6 weeks. That's a $600 value. I'm going to give you access to the premier pre-foreclosure resource so you can start using this strategy towards those pre-foreclosures and start raking in the cash. That's a $500 value. I will also give you free access to transactional funding and unlimited proof of fund letters if you need it. But to be honest with you, you really don't need it for subject to. But if you drift off in another direction, you'll still have access to it. This is a real world value of $2,500. Easy. Bonus number 4, for the next 12 months, you may reattend any and all subject to training absolutely free. That's a $19.97 value. And then bonus number 5, you and I doing business together. Think about it. If you come across a deal and you're not really sure how to handle it, but you want to pass it off to me and I end up doing the deal, and you and I making money together, how many more deals can you bring me? That's the question. How many deals can you bring me? Because I can handle them. I can help you. We can help each other. And we're going to make a ton of dough together. To me, that's priceless. Bonus number 6, a 30-minute tax strategy session with my personal CPA. And then I'm also going to give you a 30-minute asset protection strategy session with my wealth preservation attorney. That's also $250 value. So if you take a look at the training for $997, all the contracts and agreements that cost $5,000, it's some paperwork. 6 weeks of rapid coaching with me, $600. Pre-foreclosure list with training, $500 on that. Transactional funding, proof of letter, absolutely unlimited for you. You're not going to spend $2,500. Reattend the training camp, $997. Partner with me, wipes out everything above for sure, and puts a lot of money in your pocket, plus the building of your portfolio. Tax strategy and asset protection strategy, another $500. That's a $6,394 a la carte system right there. But you're not going to pay $6,394. You're not going to pay $1,997 that I used to charge in the past. And you're not going to pay $997 as you just saw on the screen. Whoa, you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, Sensei always sells his courses for $997. Right? Well, your investment is simply just $497. In fact, I'm going to add a little bit more to that. So hold on to your seat. You want to bring a partner? I don't care if it's your spouse. I don't care if it's a boyfriend or girlfriend. I don't care if you find someone off the street. Then it's only $7.97 for 2 people. Yep. Never, ever, ever done that before. And if you guys have been with me for the last 24 years, you'll know that. $7.97 for 2 people. Now, Subject to Training Camp is going to be held in Anaheim, August 24th. Write those dates down. But you got to visit this link and able to register and to be able to get this next bonus that I'm getting ready to offer you. That's right. In the beginning of this session, I told you that I've got something special for you, and you got to wait to the very, very end to get it. And here we are. Are you ready for it? How many of you out there right now love what I just showed you? Go ahead and raise your hand. You got a little clicker thing. Raise your hand so I can see it. If you love the strategy of Subject to be able to do flips and rentals and sandwiches and lease options and close your own escrows and learn how to write up your own land trust and all that great stuff, then $497 is just a drop in the bucket, right? Who else is going to teach you these things for that type of price? Someone's done it over and over and over and over again for over 2 decades. Well, here's what I'd like to do for you. You sign up today, reserve your seat. Tell me that you're coming, because it's got to be a small class, because this is a detailed, specialized training class, small class only. If you reserve your seat today by $497, or 2 of you join up at $797 today, then I'm going to throw in this extra bonus. That's only good today. You won't get it tomorrow. And that means I'll give you all your money back. I'll offer my money back guarantee. And what it means is this. After my training, within 12 months, if you help sell one of my wholesale deals or my subject to deals, I will give you your money back. If you buy one of my wholesale or subject to deals from Black Belt investors, I'll give you your money back. You sell one of my wholesale or subject to deals, I will give you your money back. And if you allow Black Belt investors to do one of your wholesale subject to deals, then I will give you your money back. Guys, that's super easy. With my expertise, with my help, teaching you from ground up of how to do all this work and simplifying it for you. In fact, even partnering with you on it, you're going to make money, plus you're going to get your $497 back. All you need to do right now is go to blackbeltinvestors.com/sub2. This is a hidden page on my website. You're not going to find it any other time. You have to do it right now. blackbeltinvestors.com/subject2. We will spend 1 full day in the city of Anaheim learning the subject to transaction of how to find the deals, work with the distressed owners, being able to get it under contract, transfer that property over so that you control the asset, drafting up deeds, drafting up land trusts, and be able to either assign it out, fix and flip, lease option, sandwich the deal, you name your flavor. And I'm going to ground and pound the information to you, giving you all those bonuses, plus for tonight only, this money back guarantee. $497. I've never offered a training like this for $497. Never. But it's completely up to you. If you want to get ahead of the pack, you want to learn to be able to create income streams, flip properties, beat the competition, build up your rental portfolio just like I do, then you're going to visit blackbeltinvestors.com/sub2. No more excuses. Get it done right now. And I'll see you in Anaheim in August. August 24th. $497 per person, $797 for 2. Go right now, and I'll see you there. Thank you.